Welcome to Romance Unzipped, your happily ever after book club. I'm Holly.
And I'm Annie. We read, write, and obsess about all things romance.
Let's dive in. Hello, everyone.
Hey, welcome to Romance Unzipped podcast. I'm Annie.
I'm Holly.
This is Sofie.
Sofie might actually stay with us today. She's rather lazy today.
She's 9.5 pounds of cute.
Yeah, I think she might just want to snuggle.
She's so snuggly. So today is the second half of our review in a trilogy, but only 2 of the books are out of
Yes.
the Otacian.
Otacian Chronicles by Kylie Snow. I read that there are going to be 6 books total, but only the first 3 are following these characters.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think the other 3 are within the universe, and maybe they pop up as side characters.
Classic series,
Yes.
like where you combo up couples.
So we are following Lena and Silas. Last week we talked about them in Lies of Lena. And this book this week is Sins of Silas.
Yes, we love an alliteration. So, okay, we'll give you the quick shakedown in case you didn't watch the other episode and you just want the video cliff notes. So, context, it's a magical land, it's a romantasy, it's young adult-ish. She's in her early 20s now. They both are. First book, they meet in their teens, and she turns out to be a mage, have magical powers. He turns out to be the son of the evil king who wants to kill everyone who has magical powers. But the first story is very much world building of this kingdom they live in and all these characters that come into play and her kind of awakening. And then, of course, they're star-crossed lovers because
Yes.
he is just like positioned to hate her and she's positioned to have to hide her true identity.
And not just be a mage, but be the leader of the mages.
Right? So it ends on her.
The first book ends with her now being in charge of this community of magical people that she lives in and setting out on this journey to try to save them.
Yeah.
So the second book is very much about the journey. There's a group of, probably about 10 travelers. They're all broken in their own way. They would not have come together, this group. It's forced proximity.
Unlikely allies.
Very unlikely. And they're on their way across the continent. They're trying to defeat this evil king, King Ulric, Silas's dad. They're also trying to save the world from a necromancer, this evil power that's starting. It's a little bit mysterious, and you don't know yet what all is happening. You just know he's evil, and problems are displaying themselves throughout the world.
And a necromancer is someone who has a magical ability to raise the dead, and usually they do it in a way where they're like building an undead army.
Yeah, they're not raising the dead just like for help baking cookies.
To do flash dances.
That's our new thriller, flash dance on Halloween.
We're bringing back 1998. Okay, so Holly, give me a quick recap. What are the tags for this book?
Well, like we already said, romantasy, and it's dark romantasy. And as Kylie Snow says, all the books in this series get progressively darker.
Yes.
So you need to really check your trigger warnings. There were a few scenes in this book where I was feeling a little squeamish and it was difficult to read.
Yeah.
There's just various torture scenes.
There's all the things that could trigger the people.
Yeah. So if that's not your cup of tea, I might read something else. But there's a lot of magic throughout, and so she calls herself a mage. The way they talk about her, like when they denigrate her, the humans that don't like mages, they call her a witch. Although at times she likes the word witch, so it's not always a slur. So we might say either one. But so that's one race of magical people. There's also warlocks in this book. There's a lot about gods and goddesses, and a big theme is a prophecy.
Sea nymphs.
Yes.
There's just like vampires.
There's some vampires that they meet along the way. So there's a whole host of different magical beings, but also humans that are main characters.
So it's still star-crossed lovers, and it gets even more star-crossed because of things that we'll discuss. There is this hero's journey of Lena, but also Silas, because it's Lena's story, but Silas's journey is a huge part of it, of like his emotional journey of growth. And what are some of our other tropes?
There's definitely found family, and it's not
yeah.
just for Lena. All of them in this group have some issues, and they become a tight-knit group that has to work together. I mean, they all save each other's lives many times, and she does a really good job with that part. She did a great job with the side characters. There are a lot in this book, and they're all distinct, and they all bring something to the table.
That's true. Yeah, they're interesting and fleshed out. Like Danny is...
Yeah, I love Danny. A
like,
warlock.
And she's I don't know, like not tertiary, but 50-ary character. But she brings a lot to the table and plays a key role. And so, yeah, Kylie Snow does a good job of making an immersive world where the people are there for a reason.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the benefits of this being a trilogy. She was able to introduce these characters slowly over the course of the first book. And now that we're in this book, they're all fully developed already. The first book ends on a cliffhanger, as we talked about.
They're sitting on the edge of a cliff.
Literally, they're on the top of a mountain, like dangling their legs off a cliff.
Yeah.
This book, when it starts, it just gets right into the action. There's no recap. There's no chapter where she's kind of saying, oh, yeah, remember, this is my friend, and trying to ease you in. So if it's been a while since you read the first one, you might want to reread it.
I don't know if people can hear this in Hollie's microphone, but Sofie is snoring, and it is the gentlest little puppy noise.
It's soothing. It's so tiny.
It's like the world's tiniest accordion.
Yeah, she is tuckered out.
It's hard work having guests over. Hollie came over and we had a sleepover last night.
We just read books.
Yeah, my wife's traveling. Totally. I was like, come over and lay around and read. And so we did. It was.
And Sophie's just zonked from the extra.
Oh, God, it was a lot. This book is huge in scope. And maybe I will just start by saying, when I read the author bio, they mention that, or she mentions in her bio that she's always wanted to be a writer, but she grew up playing video games. Video games that Kylie Snow cited as her kind of inspirations. There's one called Rule of Rose, one called Haunted Something, Folklore. And so I looked them up, and they are worlds. They are like
storytelling,
digital visual worlds, and they're very dark, and they're very gothic, and very violent. But at the center of each one is a young woman who is put in this kind of impossible, dangerous situation, and she travels through and learns these internal and external powers and gets allies and like kind of conquers. So reading that, I was like, oh my God, she wrote
makes so much sense.
She wrote the world that she plays, and even some of the music that Kylie Snow picked for her soundtrack, like a lot of authors make a soundtrack at the beginning, it is this very like cinematic orchestral music that feels like you're moving through this world. So I couldn't get it out of my head that it was like her transitioning through levels of a video game.
This book in particular feels that way to me more than the last one, because they have kind of bigger battles.
Yeah.
And they are going from one setting to the next. And in this case, they're looking for allies, so they're traveling from one city to the next.
And they get new powers each time.
When they get there, they're either acquiring a new power or they find a new ally that gives them a power. So it feels like a leveling up of a game.
But it's just a different framework than I know. And so it was kind of fun to learn a little bit about it, because neither of us know anything about them.
No, we're probably saying things completely incorrectly.
Right. Everyone's like, ugh, embarrassing.
That's okay.
But so, yeah, it was kind of cool. It's like this merging of these two worlds, which I imagine that readers love, because people love it, but then some people hate it, as we talked about, or like they're angry about it.
Maybe that's part of the polarity that we're seeing with these books.
Yeah.
If you don't come at it from that perspective,
you're like, why?
Uncomfortable or just in some way non-desirable.
Yeah, like unrecognized. Also, because I think romance readers have a really specific expectations of what format is going to go, and certainly it's a romance and it follows those beats, but it is different. It's just a little different, and it's very violent.
Yeah, it's got a lot of spice and a lot of violence
and creative violence. And one of the themes was retribution. So it's this like these unthinkable sins are committed against Lena and her gang, her crew of that they kind of build up, like Silas and everyone. But then people get payback, and the payback is like tenfold, hammer.
She is not messing around.
No, it's very creative, I guess is the best word.
Yeah, creatively
detailed.
Graphic.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost like those scenes are the most detailed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the physically violent torture scenes are very detailed.
Uh-huh.
And I'm the kind of person that I like to watch movies with action, but I close my eyes during all the scenes where people are getting killed or there's like, you know, two people fighting with a sword. I close my eyes when I hear that there's no longer metal clashing against each other. I open my eyes again and then I find out what I missed.
Yeah.
So a couple of these scenes I had to kind of skim through.
Yeah. Yes. So retribution, huge theme. What were some themes that popped out for you?
Well, it's unsurprising because this is such a magical book, but fate shows up a lot, and it's really what drives the characters. Many of them aren't on this journey because they want to be, but because they're fated to be there, and they don't really have a choice in the matter. And what I found kind of delightful as a reader is we are introduced to various subplots, just events that have happened in the past. And at the time, maybe either it doesn't seem relevant or it just seems like we're moving on. But later in the book, these things come back, and every storyline, every little thread that gets pulled eventually makes its way back into the main story. And it's not just a coincidence, it's part of the fate. It's part of the pulse of this book is that things are getting pulled together. So for example, Torin is this character. We talked about him in the first episode. He is in love with Lena, and
everybody loves
Lena. And his parents go missing 15 years ago, I think. And it's talked about more as just a way that explains why he is who he is. And it's just like details for his backstory. But then later in the book, he ends up meeting his parents. And they have been captured by this evil king in one of the towns they go to. And they've been living as slaves in this underground dungeon. And he gets captured and gets put in the same dungeon with them. And then later, Lena and her whole crew, of course, when they're out trying to find allies in this community and they get sort of double-crossed, then they end up in the same dungeon and they all find each other again. And it doesn't feel shallow. It's like the point of it all. You get like a sense of relief. It's like when I'm listening to music and it's the last note of a song and it's unresolved and you think it's over and it doesn't quite feel right. And then it resolves to the fifth or something, and then your ears are like, oh, that's what I was waiting for. It kind of has that sensation where you're like itching for that resolution, and then you tend to get it. There was still a lot of loose plots at the end of this book because there's a third book, but you can see the direction things are going in.
Yeah, I think that's a great storytelling skill, is to be able to put those pieces together and then have them come in a way that satisfies me as a reader, but isn't obvious to me immediately. Like I wasn't gonna guess that. By the way, spoilers. That Silas's mom is actually the daughter of this seer, like this famous prophet, or that his
mom is actually the same mystical force that's speaking in Lena's head
from the start. From the very start. And or that her dad is a god, and all these pieces. Like I didn't expect it, but then when it happens, I'm like, oh, of course. Oh, that totally makes sense. So I think that's a good skill to have. Although from the first book, I was like, it's pretty obvious to me. Not everybody knew that the king is the bad guy. He's actually the necromancer.
He killed the queen, and
and that also he wasn't Silas's dad. I was like, I didn't know the part though where the mom was magical, but
some of them you could see coming. Well, for all of the compliments I just gave about how she's weaving these things in a satisfying way, I didn't feel like she stayed consistent with that at the very end of this book.
Yeah. There's a lot of...
There's this whole scene where they've been trying to find these answers. Everything they're guided by is a prophecy, which of course as prophecies go are vague and unclear, and she doesn't know what it means. So that's a part of their motivation for going on this journey. They're trying to figure out how all these clues fit together. And then at the end, they go into this temple of memory, and they say, oh yeah, we just need like an artifact from this person's life, and then we can like tap into their memory and kind of like display it on a hologram or something. And it's like a movie you're watching of their memories. And so then there's like a 15-page summary where it just starts at the beginning and goes through time, and you're just watching a movie of all these events that happened through the memories of 2 other characters that have since died. And it's so much information all at once, and it reads like a flashback that's just there as an info dump. You know, it didn't read to me as a slow...
You wanted it like woven in more through the ladder.
And I like to peel back the layers and get a little here and a little there, and this was just like, here you go, here's all this information. And it felt to me like the last episode of Downton Abbey.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Is a sick burn, because I did not like that episode. I liked the show, but everything resolved too quickly all at once. So that is my own personal pet peeve, I guess.
You want the slow play payoff.
Yeah, I like the slow burn of the revealing things. And perhaps she just ran out of room, because this is a really long book.
It is a long book, but it doesn't feel super long because it keeps changing.
I couldn't believe how quickly I read it. I read it on my Kindle, and I don't have a good intuition for how long a book is, or how much time elapses, or how deeply I'm just entrenched in a book when I don't have like a physical heft in my hand. And I saw it was 700 pages, and I read it in a couple of days, which is usually not my style.
Yeah, it is. It's a totally like, you cruise through the read.
So readable.
I'm not sure if people can see, but Sofie has a cockatoo look going on. Her little mohawk on top. It's very cute. And I would just like to say, I asked Holly last night at our slumber party what her favorite color was, and she said orange, and I just happened to have purchased this beautiful thrift store safety orange shirt. Holly's youngest child has the best fashion. Like, it verges between business assassin and AC/DC rock band.
Yeah, with some punk and then some very professional suit and tie.
And just
a lot of accessories.
A lot of accessories, but also enamored of the zipper tie. And I didn't know what a zipper tie was. And my wife and I were traveling, and we were in Belgium. This was a couple months ago. And I was in a thrift store, and I was like, it's a zipper tie. So I am twinning with Holly's youngest. This is an homage. Just want to share. Yeah.
And then I'm wearing Annie's favorite color, and actually Annie's
gold.
Clothes. Gold.
So I just wanted to talk about it because I was really excited to be representing the family.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yes. Oh, and I had to point out Sofie's hair. So speaking of fashion, hey, segue.
Hey, good one.
There is a lot of fun fashion in this book, actually, and it's a crisscross of like medieval warrior-ish, and then modern, sexy, powerful, but it's kind of in between the two. But there's like corsets, and there's cami tank tops, leather pants.
Yeah, a lot of leather pants.
One pair of high heels with a chunky heel. Boots, but yeah, there's a kind of a snapshot of the fashion. And then as I was looking at some of these video games that Kylie Snow references, the people have very much a look, especially like the protagonist, young women.
The young women.
Like, it's sexy but tough. So that was interesting. And one of the people that she meets along the way is Danny, who is a warlock, which is someone who can transition their presence, like they could be an animal or whatever.
Yeah, like a shapeshifter kind of thing.
Shapeshifter, there's a name for that.
Yeah, and the warlocks, they are magical as well, but they have to use incantations. They've got this book of like every kind of spell.
Yeah.
And they channel their own internal magic in some certain way while they're reading these spells, and then they can perform magic that way. And Danny is a great character.
Yes.
Just all on her own. But she also is this super amazing plot device within the book, because she it unlocks this world of magic to Lena and the rest of the mages. And she says, well, actually, you can use incantations as well. This is the book. This is how you do it. And throughout their journey, after, each night when they set up camp, she's helping all these mages learn how to unlock the magic that her and her people need and use. And the backstory is that mages and warlocks hate each other.
Right. They're vying for power, but they were pitted against one another.
Yes. And so Danny...
by a bigger bad guy.
Danny knows that mages have the ability to use incantations, but that warlocks have kept that information hidden from them for centuries because mages were too powerful otherwise, because they have their own internal, like, innate magic, and then if they also can access this external magic that mages can use, then they would be too
Warlocks
powerful.
were scared, so they were kept it hidden, and now there's a greater evil, and so people who were historically oppressed are coming together, sharing resources to overcome the one big bad guy.
Mm-hmm. And in Danny's case, I feel like she would have shared this information anyway. She's just such a warm source of warmth. She wants everyone to succeed and live up to their full potential.
Yeah, and so she kind of... it shifts back and forth. Sometimes she her name's Dani, and sometimes she's likes to live as a man, and always she has blue hair. And then sometimes she's a woman, and
sometimes she's an animal.
Sometimes she's an animal
species, and she's just very fluid with her presentation.
And she's like kind of... I think Kylie Snow's book was interesting in this one particular between the two is she uses these characters as like the plot device. So Danny's very much this transition tool to get them from, we have one set of resources, and then she kind of like is the usher into this new community, but also this second set of powers, because now Lena can do incantations and
and of course Lena is this very gifted mage, so she takes to it right away, and she's, oh, that's better than I've ever seen anyone, and you're picking this up quicker than I've ever seen.
She's Neo of the Matrix.
She is. And then another character that we met in the first book, but that serves a very useful purpose from a writing standpoint, is Merrick.
Oh my gosh, Merrick was a great... Kylie Snow totally... This is a great concept. I don't know if other writers in the romantasy realm do this, but to us it was new, so... hats off.
So his special skill is he's an empath, and he can read people's emotions. And in essence, he can tell...
And he can read their thoughts, too.
Yeah, they're...
Oh, that's more... that's more Tauren.
Thoughts, exactly, but he can tell whether or not they're lying, because if they're saying something and they are being truthful about it, he can tell from their emotions.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, he kind of has to tune into them, and his eyes turn... black, I think it is.
Yeah, they get kind of charcoal and hazy, and
so you can tell when he's using his power, and then they use him a lot. So this is a mostly, well, I guess it's not a dual point of view. It's like a triple point of view, and there are other characters aside from just Lena and Silas that have the point of view. But Merrick comes in somewhat regularly in the book. And it's so useful because when he is the narrator...
he's the tuning rod.
He can read other people's thoughts, and he can tell their intentions. And
so he knows Silas is in love with Lena.
Yes. And so he's able to sniff out a lot of these secrets they're trying to keep. He can't tell what the secrets are exactly, but he can tell, like when Silas is defending Lena after she's been attacked, and all the mages are thinking...
he feels like guilt and longing and fear and pain, and then... he knows, Silas got married. Oh, we mentioned that last time, Arabella. And so he senses this growing attraction from Arabella towards him. So it's like he can feel arousal.
He can, and I think it gets him aroused.
Yeah.
So he's just able to, we don't need the point of view of every single character to tell what they're thinking.
Yeah.
So it's great to have a character do that. And I don't think she overused it.
No, but you're right. It's good that it isn't the precise thoughts, because it gives me as a reader a little bit more mystery of this sense of like the energy of it, as opposed to he's thinking this, she's thinking that.
Right. There is one character that can read thoughts.
Yes.
But he doesn't have a point of view. I don't think he ever has a chapter. Maybe he's got one, but he doesn't use it in a plot-driven way.
Yeah.
And in fact, there will even be conversations with him where other characters are saying, oh, that's creepy when you read my mind, don't do that. And so then he'll stop. Mm-hmm. So for him, it's more just...
He's an ethical telepath.
He's an ethical mind reader. Lucky for everyone around him.
Lucky.
And there's one other character that shows up that I feel like is a plot device as well that I was not a fan of. And that is Saoirse, a 4-year-old girl that's a mage. She's been captured and orphaned, and she's in the same dungeon as all these other poor mages. She only shows up for 1 chapter, maybe 2. So to me, it feels like not somebody that I have the chance to have an emotional connection with. But she's this young girl. She runs up to Silas when he gets imprisoned and just like gloms to him right away and asks him to be her daddy. And then he gets dragged away by guards and she's crying and she asks Lena to be her mommy. And it just feels like she's only there to show the main character's vulnerability and compassion, especially with Silas. It does show some growth on his part that he's...
Starts crying.
Yeah, he's crying for this girl and he feels so bad for her, whereas not long in the past he's been just killing and murdering mages. He was named Silas the Slayer of Witches.
Which is the result of complex PTSD and intense psychological breaking down, training, and forcing by his father through systemic sexual assault and torture.
Yeah, no,
so
he really...
we have some compassion for
He
Silas.
went through the ringer, Silas did. Mm-hmm. So this character, Saoirse, is introduced. She wants them to be her mommy and daddy, and then in the very next scene, she's killed. I think a soldier like shoots her with an arrow. And she just bleeds out on the battlefield. And it just felt so almost manipulative as a reader that she had such a short...
That's really upsetting for you.
I didn't like it. I didn't like this character. But beyond that, the other characters that move the plot forward, I thought they worked really well. So maybe it's just a kid thing. Because I have kids around that age, and I'm just not real keen on seeing them used in a such a transactional way, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It was a small part of the book. I mean, when you talk about 1 chapter in 700 pages.
Yeah, and overall, this huge cast of characters, I think the author does a really great job of utilizing them to tell a story more than just like, here's what's going to happen, this is why. And it's really creative, and I liked it. Like Merrick as the empath, I hadn't seen that. Maybe it's common in romantasy, but it was really cool.
We have another pair of soul ties in this. There's one of the mages and one of the soldiers, and they're just drawn to each other right away. So they have this very sweet relationship that's always in the background in every scene. And the Merrick...
It's the very innocent.
It is so innocent.
It's like they're in this world of just intense, brutal blood, and then they're just like...
And these two just have
it feels like
doe
they're
eyes for each other.
Courting out in the countryside.
But I feel like most of these characters, even without being told in explicit context clues who we're talking about, like you can tell who it is from their behavior, from their voice. She really gave them each a distinct...
Yeah, that she's good with the characters and like using them to make the story as opposed to like, I don't know, it was woven together. It was very tapestry-esque. One thing about all these characters that are so lovely written, that's the like adjunct of the adverb. I just made it up.
Makes sense to me.
I don't even know what adjunct of an adverb means, but it also sounds...
That's what you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
They all are very extremely broken. All these people have had pretty bananas levels of trauma, and so as they come together to overcome this external evil force, they're also kind of growing and healing along the way, which is interesting because often in a romance novel, it's like one person who has this intense wound, or maybe sometimes it's like 2 people and they're hurt, comfort, but it's not like a whole merry band of pranksters.
Yes.
And everyone's just like intensely traumatized in some way or another and moving through it. So that was kind of an interesting part, and all of them grow within their variation of it to whatever degree that it's important to the story. But that part was interesting because it was just like the trauma gang.
Yeah, I will say about this book, there are a couple of, maybe tropes is the right word, that on paper maybe seem a little off-putting, but in the context of what these characters are going through, it works.
Yeah.
So, for example, we've got this whole other man, other woman. So Silas is married to Arabella. Lena has relationships with Torin and Roland in the book in one scene at the same time.
One threesome.
And it doesn't feel like a
It's
betrayal.
Not
it's
cheaty.
not.
It's yearning.
They are, and they're all four of them are yearning for each other. Her relationship
There's back yearning,
with
there's
Roland
side yearning.
is going throughout the book, and they're more of a friends with benefits kind of situation.
Yeah.
But it's in a
He
loving
calls it friends who fuck.
Yeah, but it's very respectful what they are bringing to the table for each other.
And he adores her.
And she really, really likes him, although they both know they're not in love with each other. But then she and Torin, she says she loves him. He's definitely in love with her. They do have a physical relationship.
Very in love with her.
Yeah, he's super pining for her.
He like lays it all down for Lena, but not in a fight for her, but in a like, I'm going to shape my life to support her life.
Yes, even though I know that I'm not her number one choice because I'm not her
and
soul
I'm not
tie.
going to make her know about all my sacrifices. I'm just going to do it
Just do
quietly in the back because that is my fate.
And then Silas is married to Arabella, and he loves her in his own way.
Yeah.
And then also Arabella and Merrick clearly have this thing going on, and they end up being together in
Kissy face.
Yes, they do. They do cheat with each other, and Silas and Lena end up
They
getting
don't
together.
have sex though, do they?
Well, they end up in that cabin for 43 days.
Oh.
And it's still unclear at the end of this book what they were doing. But
Yeah.
43 days being alone, trapped in a cabin, who's bound.
Fever.
Maybe they got cold and they had to warm each other up. But so there's all these elements of other women, other men, but it makes so much sense in the context of the book because they're being pulled apart by fate and then they're being pulled back together by fate. And this is just the way the journey works.
Yeah, I don't think the trope fits.
No, it doesn't. So if you are if that's not your favorite thing to read about, it's not in a cheating way.
Dip your toe in.
Yeah, you can
Give it
try
a
that
try.
out. And then similarly, kind of similar, Silas, it seemingly is irredeemable for all the absolutely terrible things he has done to people.
Yeah.
Particularly done to mages, which are the group of people that he's traveling
Yeah, like
with.
overt torture.
Just murdered a bunch of them and spent his life not just killing random ones, but trying to commit genocide against the whole group of them.
Systemic annihilation.
And that's pretty bad. But then
We don't approve, guys.
usually you want a character to be a little bit more gray so they are redeemable later on. And in his case, it's not that his behavior was on the border of ethically okay. It's that what happened to him was so brutal that you kind of feel like, man, he couldn't have ended up any other way. And again, it's fate. He had to follow this path because his dad was so evil and orchestrated such a crime against him that it's no wonder that this is the way he turned out. And he talks about, I can't even remember which book it's in. He says, I feel nothing anymore. I'm completely numb.
That's called CPTSD, guys.
Yeah.
Complex PTSD.
The only thing I like to do is killing because at least when I kill, I feel something.
Yeah.
So that's where his life's at. So again, you've got a seemingly irredeemable character, which in some books is not very compelling because you don't really want the lady to get back with this asshole guy. But he's just so wounded and so broken, and it's so tragic what happened to him that you end up feeling bad for him.
Even as you're reading, from the whole series, as you're reading his point of view, it's not like, I hate this guy. You're in his experience. He's suffering.
He is suffering.
It's easy to see.
And he definitely has remorse, and he's trying to make it better.
Oh, he's full of guilt. He hates himself, but he thought Lena was dead from a fire. He kissed her burned ash of a head, and as it crumbled in his
like
hands,
smelling
in the first,
like the burnt hair smell all around him.
Yeah, in the first book. So this happens, and then he goes home, and his dad starts this campaign, and his like the brutality of his life just skyrockets. So he has this kind of like double. Oh, and his mom was just assassinated. So it's like he just was like trauma, boom, 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 and then his dad molded him. So we get it, but all of it was kind of around fire. So like Lena is killed in a fire, or so he thinks, and then.
And throughout the book, whenever there's fire happening, he starts to get short of breath. You
Triggered.
can see him having panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And Lena even notices at one point and says, "Oh, I won't fight with my fire. I'll just fight with my ice," because she has all these amazing magical skills.
Mm-hmm.
And he really has a strong reaction to fire. Then there's this whole scene where...
And he's not scared for him. He's scared Lena's going to die.
Yes.
It's like about Lena, of course, because then...
That's his driving force that he can't help.
Right.
And then we have this scene later in the book.
I can't have her, but at any cost I will protect her.
Yes, but we must protect Lena. She feels the same way about him.
Yeah.
No matter what, she has to protect him.
Oh, yeah. They both throw themselves in front of death multiple times.
He ends up having this revelation where he's no longer afraid of fire because he sees it as a source of strength from all these mages that have been just tortured and abused, enslaved, downtrodden, and they finally have a chance, like they win a battle and they break free and they have a chance to reclaim their lives. And a part of that is receiving the power of fire, because as we mentioned last week, that comes from a great
anger,
emotional, horrible, like anger situation that happens. The result of that is that these women get fire.
Yeah.
And so they all kind of come into their own and break free from these shackles, both literally and figuratively, and they all get their fire, and he sees it and he realizes that it's this like
they're using it
beautiful thing,
like punish their sexual abuser
in retribution. He's getting his comeuppance.
Cleansing.
Yes. So as they're learning how to control this new fire, they're like inflicting it on their abuser, and Silas is watching, and he feels
it's like they're being reborn. They're coming as this new version of themselves. He's seeing fire as like this power and not something that always kills, but can like help someone, I don't know, like change. Or these women were all kind of like in ashes, right? And then this fire's like empowering them.
And this is a whole theme through the book.
Phoenix.
Yes, the phoenix. Through the prophecy that they're trying to untangle, it talks about a phoenix. It talks about rising from the ashes. I mean, that's a really common...
Many a tattoo.
Yes. Silas has a phoenix tattoo. And at the end of the book, he gets killed. Now, we have reason to believe that it's not an actual death. He gets stabbed by a cursed sword. And it seems pretty obvious, like to the point that it's... I don't even think it's a trail of crumbs we're trying to follow. I think it's just straight up what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That he is going to be reborn. He is the phoenix, and he's going to rise from the ashes. They even say in the prophecy that's one of the things that has to happen, rebirth through death. Yeah. And he's now just died.
Yeah.
And he's got all of this fire trauma that's following him throughout the book. It's very symbolic, and so it seems pretty apparent that it's finally going to be him. Like, we didn't know who was going to be rebirthed, but clearly it's going to be Silas. So that's what's coming on the horizon for him.
Yeah, and that's actually like a good example of how Kylie Snow takes one theme and makes these seeming like disparate uses of fire, and then it
comes together.
It comes together. Like when you pointed that out, I was like, "Oh, good call, Holly.
Way to go, Kylie.
Way to go, Holly, too, for getting this.
I try.
Yes. So as the book goes and they go through geographies, they keep up leveling in their novel of a game of power and role and who they are. And so part of what unfolds in this mystery is that there's 4 gods. So it's like, I picture like, here's the human land where she was, and then here's this magic land, and now there's this mythical land up here where there's gods. So she's going to up level in book 3 into like god realm of the game. But there's 4 gods. There's rebirth, purification, deceit, and
vengeance.
Yeah, maybe it's retribution, and we just made that up.
I think it was vengeance.
That sounds good. Her dad is vengeance.
I think her dad is the god of vengeance.
So at the beginning of all this, gods weren't even on the table. Like, there was maybe a slight mention of as like some kind of concept that you appeal to, and then it gathers steam, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they walk amongst us, and actually they're coming. It's part of the prophecy, and turns out She's the goddess of purification, and she's the weapon that everyone's been trying to find. So
they've been trying to figure out what this weapon is to try to defeat
it was her
King
all
Ulric,
along.
who is the god of deceit, we find out.
Guys, it was Lena.
Yeah, and they've been trying to figure out who are these gods, and then as it turns out, it's her.
And well played, because I did not guess that.
No, I didn't see that part coming.
Yeah. And so then, obviously, Silas is going to be a god. That's my guess. Maybe not obviously, but come on. And
he seems like is there a god of rebirth? Is that one of them we just said?
Yeah.
It's got to be him, right?
It's got to be
He
him.
just got killed, and he's got this fire thing, and he's got the phoenix
He's
tattoo.
got a tattoo.
Yeah.
Tattoos are permanent.
Yeah, you can't take that off.
I did get one of those tattoos, that company that went bankrupt, of the ephemeral tattoos. And I had my wife's name tattooed because I thought that would be awesome. 3 years later, still fading. It's supposed to be 9 months. That's why they went bankrupt.
That's probably why. That's good to know.
So I'm imagining third book all going to take place probably on this human plane as they fight to protect humanity, but also in like an Olympus type, because there's that land that people can't quite find, Oakbaron something. So that's our guess.
To see how it goes.
We are not going to review that one because we trust that if you want to read it, you will. But we are totally shifting gears, going back to contemporary rom-com.
We are going to read Deep End by Allie Hazelwood.
Oh, yes. But we are seeing these are all recent publications.
Yeah, I think this is a 2025 book.
It's totally recent. And it is fun because Allie Hazelwood is very known for her STEM characters, these kind of like super intellectual women, and then these stories of, like academic settings and falling in love. And this one has this big BDSM realm. So she's kind of like crossing a line.
Yeah, there's still the
As an
STEM,
author.
the academic going on in the setting, but now
There's a bit of
veering into-
bondage.
right, the two characters are
Spicy.
into that.
Yeah, I love it when worlds collide. So
if you would like to read along,
yeah,
that's what we'll be reviewing next week.
it's kind of fun. It changes all the time. We can just review whatever we
We can
want.
do whatever we want.
It's so crazy.
We are grown-ass women.
We can have a slumber party
can
and
read
read
what we
all
want.
night. So thanks for joining us. And Sofie, she was
thank
so
you
happy.
so much, Sofie.
It was great to hang out with you guys. And
Goodbye.
happily ever
See you next
after.
time.